We have a long and proud tradition of poetry at our Monday Club. This gentleman came down for the first time last week and knocked us out with his work, so I'll make up his comeback. He's going to do two of his poems for you. Please give it up and then be really quiet for Birkenhead Poet. Come on!
Thank you. Nice one. This one's a bit of a long poem, even for my standards, but I'm sure you can all identify with it if you're either a Catholic or a Protestant. It's a really good poem, I think. Truth be told, it's a hell of a poem, and it's called When Dante Came a-Calling. Last night I had a visit from Dante, but it didn't go so well. Inside a dream within a dream, he took me on a journey through the gates of hell. Vivid dreams like this, they've happened to me a couple of times before. Somehow dead poets seem to find their way of turning up outside my door. And Dante said that he was a dead good friend of my late great mate, Edgar Allan Poe, may he rest in peace, but I was already warm and snuggled up in bed in hell. I didn't want to go, I just wanted to wake back up fast asleep in me of the dream, but Dante Alighieri had other plans for me, but I was not so keen. You see, I've read some of Dante's Divine Comedy, and truth be told, I didn't find it very funny, plus I didn't want to see the 7 Rings of Hell tonight, not for love, no money, but Dante reassured me that everything would be fine. He said, tonight hell awaits for you, Paul. I said, can't we leave it for another time? And Dante laughed aloud at this and he sarcastically shook his head. He said, you can visit hell as my guest tonight, Paul, or you can wait until you're dead. Truth be told, I didn't like either option, especially option 2. But I guess in life you've got to man up before death dictates its fate for you. And that's when Dante outstretched his skinny weathered hand, and it looked so frail and old, and a moment to clasp me hand on it, its touch felt deathly cold. The floor beneath my feet started to rumble and the ground began to crack. I got this hell of a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach and everything went black. The next thing I knew, I'm in a free-falling mode and it felt more like I was flying, and I knew that hell awaited me now. Plus, I was scared to death of dying, and I felt for what felt like an eternity, but it took merely a second of time, and below me I could see the gates of hell, and outside stood a massive waiting line, a snaking procession of lost souls that stretched on forevermore. Their hopelessness and pain, desperation, it chilled me to the core, but that's when hell's heat hit me and its kiss, it burned the skin, and Dante led me to the front of the queue and some hellish demon let us in, and hell really is a hell of a place. I never thought a place could be so vast. Horrors upon horrors greeted me, so I stood there in silent reverence aghast. And Dante said, don't be frightened, Paul, for you've nothing to fear. No creature or foul form will harm you as long as I am near. Well, I had to put me trust in him the way a trusting soul tends to do, and where Dante went I follow, man. I fucking stuck to him like glue, and he led me around the first ring of hell, full of sadness and despair, lost souls begging for forgiveness but receiving no forgiveness there. Their tortured cries were deafening, truly the chorus of the damned. And Dante said, hell is hell for a reason, for those who have broken God's commands. Was Dante mocking me or warning me? I honestly couldn't tell, as he led me further downwards into the second ring of hell. It was like somebody turned the heat up. I could barely catch a breath, and Dante said, don't worry, Paul, but I was literally scared to death, because the second ring of hell was a hell of a lot worse than the ring that went before. Twisted, contorted bodies writhed in agony like snakes upon the floor, merging into one another's bodies in a grotesque orgy of the skin, and grasping hands started grabbing at me body and tried to pull me in. And Dante said, do not pity the wretched, those lost souls, they are unclean. But here I witnessed the worst perversions. that I had ever seen. In the sins of the rings that the flesh bodies were flailed down to the bone. I'd seen enough of hell already. I said, hey, Dante, take me home. But Dante was in his element now, acting as my soulless guide, and his vision of hell was shockingly hellish. He looked upon it with pride. The third ring was like a giant mincing machine, a bloody abattoir, a conveyor belt that ferried in the misery of lost souls, and endless cattle carts, bodies torn apart and ground down into much to feed the devil's spawn. And Dante said, nobody will miss them, and their passing won't be mourned. And this is the ring of hell where the devil himself likes to come and feed upon lost souls who have perished and died of gluttony and greed. To me it looked less than appetising. Truth be told, it almost knocked me sick. I was on the verge of spewing my own ring up. I got out of there real quick. I'd had more than enough of this hellish torture. I couldn't take much more. And Dante said, Paul, the worst and the best is yet to come. And he unlocked another door. Deeper down dark corridors, he led me into the very bowels of hell. I asked Dante if I was still dreaming, because I really couldn't tell. And Dante said, hell is what you make of it, and hell really is a hellish thing. As he led me further downwards into another hellish ring. But this ring, it wasn't like them others. This ring, it chilled me to the bone. It was empty as hell and it was icy cold, and I have never felt so alone. And Dante said, this is the ring of hell for those who fear nothing, for nothing is a thing to fear. With the solitary sound of silence becomes deafening to the ears. And Dante looked me in the eyes and he could see that I was scared. He said, you've nothing to fear, Paul, for I've given my word. I just wanted to wake back up, fast asleep in bed with these nightmare visions I was witnessing, still only in my head. And Dante took me further downwards and I didn't want to go. And one big door lay before me, and what lay behind it I didn't know. It said, abandon all hope who enter here. And my heart began to sink, but Dante turned the key in the door before I had time to think. And inside this ring sat the devil himself on a massive burning throne. I tried hiding behind Dante, but he was barely skin and bone. And the devil rose from his great seat and he welcomed me with outstretched arms. Now I know the devil speaks with a forked tongue, so I try to be impervious to his charms. He offered me heaven upon earth if I signed away my eternal soul. This was a hell of a situation to be stuck in without digging myself deeper into a hole, because I've also heard it said the devil's renowned for telling me I'm falsifiable too. So politely I declined the devil's kind offer. It seemed the wisest thing to do. On hearing this, the devil laughed out loud and Dante just shook his head. The next thing I remember was waking up fast asleep in bed. But last night it made me realise that hell really is a hell of a place, if only in the hell of a dream. But those nightmare visions that I witnessed there, they can never be unseen. But truth be told, I didn't think much of Dante or Dante's vision of hell. But I guess hell really is what you make of it, or as far as I can tell. All I know for certain is the future is unwritten, and what will be, will be. So for now, the devil, he can go to hell, because my soul, it still belongs to me. Thank you. Nice one, thank you. On a lighter vein, I'll finish with a funny one. This one's called The Last Dodo. I watched the show on the Nature Channel and it really made me think about why the dodo bird became extinct. You see, the dodo lived in Mauritius, a far-off tropical isle, and the dodo had this big, huge beak that looked like a daft dodo smile. Its own bodily proportions looked out of place, and had big dodo-looking eyes on a dumb dodo-looking face. But the dodo's trouble only truly began when it encountered a new species known as man. Because the dodo really loved these new sailors to the island, thought it'd be fun. So when the sailors chased the dodo, well, the dodo didn't run. And the dodo, and the sailors, they really loved the dodo and the island of Mauritius. But what the dodo didn't know though was the dodo was delicious. Can I tell you a fact about a dodo? That a dodo couldn't fly, but a dodo tasted absolutely lovely in a nice big dodo pie. Sailors said they preferred it over chicken, and he fell off the bone, and it was really finger licking. Soon the poor old dodo started dying out. There was hardly any dodos left dodoing about, because they were oblivious to the dangers. They didn't have a clue. Before they realised what was happening, they were only down to 2. And dodo number 2 said to dodo number 1, this place is getting dodgy, mate, best get ourselves gone. But dodo number 1 said to dodo number 2, I don't need to take advice, sir, from a dodo such as you. And he puffed and preened his feathers, and then he waddled off, and he practically did a dodo nosedive into the sailor's cooking pot. Now dodo number 2 became dodo number 1, the last dodo left on earth. The rest of them were gone. But this was the very first dodo that had a clue of what a dodo bird in danger is meant to do. You've got to avoid men at all costs, and that's what the dodo did. The dodo waddled up the mountainside, and that dodo went and hid. This was the very last dodo left on earth. What was the first dodo that had the capacity to think. And he looked around and he realised in an instant that the fate of the dodo bird was to sadly go extinct. Thank you. Nice one. Thanks very much.
2 magnificent poets. Give it up for the Birkenhead poets!